It's totally fine. I have a lot more stories.
That you do.
Yeah.
That you do.
Guilty as charged with the stories.
Hey, everybody, welcome once again to I've Got Something to Say. Thank you so much for tuning in, for downloading, for streaming. However you're listening to this podcast, thank you. It's where I tell you stories about my life and you shut up and listen. This week's episode is entitled Sputum Damn Near Killed Him. Today, this very day that I'm recording this, not necessarily when you're listening to it, I started a new job. Yay. Thank you. Yeah. And you know, starting a new job is always fun, exciting, scary, just this whole range of emotions, just a salad of emotions all mixed together. And today for me was no different. I got new clothes because the jobs I had been in previously were very, very casual, and I just wanted to up my game. So I go into my first day, and I'm wearing some new clothes and feeling pretty good about myself and taking a tour of the area. And I nearly had a huge wipeout. Part of the floor, I stepped on something, so I thought, and my foot went out from under me. I caught myself very much. Thank you, Roberto Parker, for, keeping me in good shape and balance so I don't wipe out. And I'm with my new boss. She's showing me around. I'm like, oh, sorry. Hey, I think I just stepped in something. I almost fell. And I lift up my foot and I've got tags on the bottom of my soles, like the price tag for my shoes, because they're new shoes for my new job. And I'm wearing my new pants and my new shoes. And I just really felt like first day of school kid. You go and you do your school shopping and you pick out your little outfit. And that's exactly what happened too. I had picked out an outfit. My wife told me it wasn't good enough. And so she helped me a little bit on what I should wear. And it was just so very first day of school. I kind of flashed back to like my first day of junior high. I vividly remember wearing a brand new pair of Jordache jeans and a red Izod shirt. You remember those days, Paul? Cool. Yeah, I thought I was all that. Much older, much more aware now that I'm not anywhere near that. So, okay with that. But it did, almost having an embarrassing experience on my first day made me think back to a first day of school where I did have a very embarrassing experience. And it was when I became a freshman at Truman High School. Paul, you were there. You were a freshman the first day at Truman High School, the same day we didn't even know each other.
That's true.
Yeah. That's where
Good
we
old
met.
Days.
But do you remember what was unique about our first day at Truman?
I think we were the first freshman class.
Yes.
At Truman High School. Usually, before that, it was just sophomore, junior, and senior.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't even prompt you. Good job, dude. Yay. And so we had, twice as many kids having first day. So there were a lot of nervous people. You probably weren't nervous because you were cool and you had older brothers, and I was just a nervous wreck, afraid I'm going to get thrown in a locker or I'm going to make a fool of myself in front of people. And I will say up until fifth hour, I believe it was, things were going pretty well. Was pretty happy with, how I was presenting myself. I didn't want to draw too much attention, kind of blending into my classes, but also picking out the pretty girls that I, was determined to fantasize about at some point during that year. Because Lord knows I wasn't going to talk to them. But I went into my biology class, and the way the science classes were set up then, I don't even know if it's still this way, but you had lab tables that you set at. You remember that? It wasn't like each person had a desk, but you had a table with a solid black top, and there would be two people at each table. So we go through and they sit us down alphabetical order, and I'm WHITING. So I was the last one in the alphabet. Well, there were no more science tables. So I don't have a table. I don't have a partner. And he just puts a folding chair in the classroom between the last two tables. So I'm back there with the other people at the end of the alphabet. One of the people that was at the end of the alphabet that I was sitting next to is someone we know. Her name is now Amy Knipp, but it used to be Amy Ware, if you remember. So I'm sitting back there by her. Now I noticed right away, I'm like, oh wow, she's a really pretty girl. And so I'm trying to be cool, like, be cool, put out the vibe, not make a fool of myself. And I'm sitting there and talking about, what's going to happen in class and the syllabus. And hey, you're going to prick your finger for blood, and you're going to eviscerate a pig, or I don't know what all we did back then. So I'm listening. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And I feel a little tickle in my chest and throat area. So, I put my hand up in front of my mouth to cough, because back then we didn't know that you're supposed to do it into your shirt elbow like we do now. So I put my hand up to cough, and there is, I don't know how, but there's a wad of phlegm in my throat that I wasn't aware of that shot at rocket speed right into my closed fist. So now I'm sitting totally exposed because I don't have a desk. I don't have a science table. And I got a handful of viscous gold, and I don't know what to do. And I'm sitting next to a really pretty girl. So I'm like, okay, dude, just be cool. You're 15. You got this. Okay. No, I was 14. Holy cow. Like, just be cool. So I'm just listening, and like, okay, class is going to be over in like 34 minutes. So I'll be able to take care of this problem then. And I'm feeling that the solidity of this parcel is it's kind of melting a little bit. Am I grossing you out, Paul? I'm sorry. And so I look down and I see it starting to squeeze out between my index finger and my hey you finger. And I'm like, oh God, I got to do something. Now the smart thing to do would have just been to raise my hand and say, hey, I've got to go use the restroom. But I didn't want to call attention to myself. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? I'm in between two science tables. So I get this elaborate scheme, and I kind of lean back in my chair and put my fist up by my ears, as if I'm stretching, sort of yawning. So I start to do a fake yawn, and I spread my arms out, and I slide my fist under the science table next to me, open it up, and just wipe my sputum on the bottom of the table.
Your what?
My sputum. And it is so disgusting to even tell that story to this day. Paul, you look like I'm making you sick. I apologize. And I remember like thinking, okay, I can go wash my hand as soon as class is over. I have no idea if the person, I didn't wipe it on Amy's table. I wiped it on the other side. I don't know if they rubbed their knee, if they got their new Jordashes all phlegmed up, or what happened. But I thought, okay, I pulled that off. Nobody noticed. Real slick. I would love to know if anybody saw that actually happen. So if you're listening to this and you knew that I coughed phlegm into my fist on the first day as a freshman at Truman High School, please let us know. Oh my God, the Jordache Jeans song. Oh, you're bringing me right back. But reach out to us at this podcast. Reach out to us at KCTK Radio and let us know. I'd love to know if I was caught or if I really did get away with it and just totally gave myself up.
Distress Denim by Jordache.
Anyway, hey, that's all for this edition of I've Got Something to Say. I want to thank you so much for listening. I'm sure this will be, for many of you, the last time you listen to this podcast, but I would encourage you to give other episodes a try. They're not always this gross. I'm just trying to be honest and tell a good story. Hey, big thanks to the folks at KCTK Radio, especially my old buddy Paul, man. He makes this happen. He produces. It's his studio. You would not have heard this story if it wasn't for him. It's his fault. Talk to you next time.